All e-commerce founders want one thing, and frankly, it's disgusting. Now that I've got you here, hopefully that hooked the algorithm, and hopefully you're an e-com founder. But now that I've got you here and I've got your attention, there is one thing that all e-commerce founders do actually want, and it's answers to their questions, which seems like a pretty reasonable thing to want to have solved, right? You've got questions about your business. How do I grow it? What's my next best step? What platform do I advertise on? Do I actually need to start advertising? Do I fix my store first? What's wrong with my business? Why can't I get sales? All of these questions, right? They're very good questions, and all e-com founders want simple, straightforward answers to their questions. They don't want the runaround. They've been burned by people, right? They've spent so many hours faffing around on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, and you're probably watching this on Instagram, so this hopefully is going to be not one of those videos that you usually watch that gives you no solutions, right? And you watch all this stuff and you get all these ideas, and then none of them make sense and they all kind of contradict each other, and you never actually end up getting answers to your questions. So part of this is the reason why we founded the e-commerce circle, right? We wanted to get founders out of the free groups, off of YouTube, off of Instagram, off of platforms, whatever platform you're watching this on. Get off those platforms and get into a place where you can get around people, get around experts and other e-commerce business owners, and actually get your questions answered. Now, the reason why this one thing is disgusting is that what I find with e-com founders is, as much as they have all of these questions, they don't generally know which one's most pressing. Right at the start of this video, I reeled off a bunch of things that could be holding up a business, a bunch of bottlenecks. Could be the website, could be the ads, could be too many channels at once. It could be just the product's a bit shit, right? It could be, right? Could be all of these things, could be a combination of those things. But the problem is that when founders aren't clear on which question they actually need answered and which one they need answered first and then second, right? The priority of what questions need to be answered, why they need to be answered, why that question's more important to answer than the other one. And they end up with just this list of questions. That's really, really problematic for a founder, because you could answer the right question. You could actually get you could get a response. You could get the right answer to a question, but it could be the wrong time to answer it, which means it's the wrong time to ask it in the first place, right? So this clarity around what question do I actually need solved right now out of all of the questions I have, and if you're an e-commerce founder, you know you've got thousands of questions, hundreds of questions, right? Which one do you need answered today that's going to make an impact in your business tomorrow, that's going to give you an answer that's practical, that you can work on, that's actually going to move your particular business forward, right? Not a generic response, not something that's made for a business that's nothing like yours, that's in a different stage, a business that's doing billions of dollars or millions of dollars a month or millions of dollars a week, and you're doing 10 grand a month if you're lucky, or $500,000 a month, right? Still very different businesses. So getting the right question answered might still be the wrong answer because it's at the wrong time. And I know I'm going on a bit of a loop here, but hopefully this is making sense, right? And this is why we started the e-commerce circle. And this is why inside of the circle, we just jumped off our weekly scorecard call. And the scorecard is literally a place where we help founders identify the right questions, right? What is the right question? What answer do you actually need this week that you can work on this week that's actually going to solve the biggest bottleneck? What's going to be the biggest unlock for your brand that you can actually work on in the next few days that's actually going to make a difference? So we scorecard businesses every week, and we give them a bunch of criteria. We help them go through and literally checklist stuff out and go, well, I'm pretty good with that. Actually, I'm not really clear on that. I don't think my store's converting well. I'm not really clear on who my audience is or why they should buy from me or what I need to say to them, what messages I need to put out to them so that they buy from me, right? These are all of the questions. But when you can identify these things and score them out and go, well, actually, I'm pretty good at that, pretty good at that. Now, this one, I'm really not good at. And okay, well, that's now a thing, right? That's a bottleneck, right? That's the question that we need to answer for you today so that you can solve that this week. And if it's a 3 today, you can come back next week and go, I worked on it and now it's a 5 or a 6 or a 10, right? I've smashed it, I've solved it. And now I can move on to the next bottleneck. I can move on to the next question. And I know which question I need to ask to solve next, right? So this is the big problem that e-commerce founders have, is that actually knowing which question to ask is a big part of the problem. There's so many questions, there's so many possibilities. Knowing which one you actually need to solve right now is a big problem. So if that sounds like you, if you've ever been in that situation, like I've got so many questions and I don't know which one I need answered. I don't know if I gave you answers to all of your questions right now, which one would actually help you do something positive and get results and outcomes in your business this week. Right? That's how you want to start thinking. And that's part of the process. That's part of what we do inside the e-commerce circle, is help finders get that clarity, help them figure out what to do next, what to do tomorrow, this week, get through those bottlenecks systematically, right? So you're working through your business systematically. You're not just jumping around hoping to find a thing that fixes everything, right? You're systematically going through and fixing one by one by one by one. So you're building a system, you're building a process, you're ticking things off a list. All of these things are tactical ways to help you make sure you're asking the right questions, getting the right one answered in the right time that's appropriate for your business and where it's at. So if you're not in the e-com circle and you'd like to be, flick me a message, we'll get you in. We can help you start to work through all this scorecard stuff. If you're in the circle and you've had that experience, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I think this is one big aspect of being a founder in any business, but particularly in e-com, is clarity, right? Clarity on just give me the thing, help me fix the thing that's actually going to make a difference in my business soon, tomorrow, this week, in the next 30 days. Help me to identify those things and help me to fix them systematically so that they're solved once and for all, right? They're solved, they're off my plate, and I can move on to the next one. So I'm systematically raising every part of my business from a 3 to a 4 to a 7 to a 10. And I do that in the next part and the next part. So over time, my business is improving gradually. And that's how you build a business, piece by piece, day by day, week by week. So hopefully this has resonated. Hopefully this has made sense to you. If you're going through this and this sounds like something you need to solve, reach out. We can help. It's what we do every day. Thanks for hanging around, listening. Hopefully this has been helpful, and see you soon.